Alright, next up we've got articulation. Now, because these are upscales of the original 6-inch figures, even though these were released at the same time, we actually have some pretty good articulation this go around, and I think, sorry, I'm a little bit nose clogged. Um, I actually think that this is probably the most articulated tall figure I have, like, as far as giant goes, but whatever. For the head, we have a swivel. No, we don't. We have a ball joint. Yes, let's move the camera up. There we go. We actually have a ball joint movement. Yeah, this is the first time that we're actually getting a ball joint-like head joint on a Kong figure in the entirety of the Giants, which is actually pretty cool. Which, we're not getting like a whole ton of range, but we can go up about that far, down about that far, to his right, not our right, but his right, about that far, and to his left, not our left, about that far. So, minimal range, but we can still get a pretty good head swivel. Can go all the way around. Let's move the camera down. Shoulders. Let's talk about this arm. This arm is on a swivel hinge, so we can go roughly about this far up and this far down, and we can go back and forth, rotate all the way around. Elbows, we can also straighten up about that far, bend in about that far, and can rotate all the way around. And for the wrist, we can swivel, which is good to see. The swivel making a return, although it is kind of stiff because of the way it is cut. The Beast Glove arm has a swivel hinge, so we can go up about that far, a little less, and we can go down, and we can also go all the way around, so fairly nice movement there. But for the Beast Glove arm itself, we actually have a hinge here, which can straighten up about that far, and bend in about that far. That is it. There's no swivel here, because everything in here is locked, so you can't not swivel it. And even though there is a seam line here, it's actually curved up here where the Beast Glove ridges are, and you can't rotate it because it's all locked in. So essentially, that's kind of where the articulation stops for the arm. For the waist, there's nothing, but for the hips, you can kick forward about that far. Let's actually go to like side profile so you can get a better idea. So, backwards about that far, and can swivel, so you can actually kind of take the leg joint and kind of go to the side and kind of make Kong do the splits if you really want to. Although do keep in mind the interiors do have screw holes. Kind of getting Kong's leg back into position. The knees can straighten up about that far and can bend in about that far, and it's like that on the other side too. So for articulation, he's definitely not the most posable Kong I own, but is definitely at least a great big articulated Kong as far as the articulation is concerned, because he carries everything from the 6-inch and blows it up here and even gives you like an added ball joint here, which I think is a really nice addition. Now, for a general comparison, here he is with the 6-inch Beast Glove Kong, and again, like I said, they're essentially, from this angle, it almost looks like I have the same figure, even though size-wise there's an obvious shift in differences, well, as far as like similarities. Something I find interesting that I'm now just noticing is that this guy has the scarring, but this guy doesn't. Unless I'm just being a total idiot. But look at here. We have some slashes here on the Playmates 6-inch figure. And we even have some slashes back here, which is like this big, nasty gash. I'm going to try and focus that better. There you go. You can kind of see that better here. But on the Giant, we don't have the gashes. They're all just sealed up with fur. Very interesting, I have to say. But other than that, they're basically the same, except one also comes with the Peeve, which I think size-wise, oddly enough, it actually matches him better than him, even though it comes with the small Kong. And as if you're wondering, depending on how you fiddle with it, because I am confident that it can, put some sticky tack in there and he'll be able to hold the heave. And for just some quick size comparisons, here he is next to some other King Kong action figures that I have, with the NECA King Kong original and the Mezco King Kong of Skull Island. Which, it's kind of funny that even though he's the largest, he's actually lighter than the Mezco Kong is. I don't know what this thing is made of, probably some form of like PVC, but he's heavier than he is. And the NECA, it's light. It's actually kind of light. Not too heavy, but also not too light. And here he is next to some other Playmates Godzilla vs. Kong items, with Godzilla vs. Kong, Kong with Battle Axe, and Fighter Jet Kongs. And here he is next to the other giant Kongs that I own, from also Playmates, the giant 2017 King Kong original version, and the Godzilla vs. Kong Giant Kong from, well, Godzilla vs. Kong. And I have to say, this guy is the best one by far. I like having a giant Kong from 2017, and I like having a giant Kong from 2021, but quality-wise, he severely beats out these two any day of the week. Better detailing, better paint apps, better articulation, maybe not so much a better price because he is a tad bit more pricier than the other ones, but as far as like the sheer quality of the figure goes, it's an absolute slam dunk. And for the final size comparison, here he is next to the giant Godzilla Evolved that I also just reviewed, and honestly, these two are so good together. And while I do have the two figures up on the table here, I want to just say that now that I've properly reviewed both figures, I'm going to have to actually say that my personal favorite between the two, it's got to be Kong. I know, but here's the thing. I love Godzilla. I love the detail, well, what detail is there, and I love everything about him, but it's just the articulation's just better on Kong. He has a better paint job than Godzilla does, and overall, he's just a better executed figure. I feel like if they tightened up the paint job on him a little bit better, and maybe gave him a bit more detail, then yeah, he'd be honestly the superior figure by far. Of course, I might play with this one a bit more because it's Godzilla and I like Godzilla more than Kong, but quality-wise, he's better than Godzilla. And one last comparison, Jada Toys' Kong keychain, metal figs keychain. So, with that being said, what do I think overall about this guy? He's actually really freaking good. I like this figure a lot. While I definitely think the quality of the plastic, again, it leaves a little bit to be desired. I wish it came with a more solid build as opposed to a much more cheap plastic build. I understand it's for kids and, you know, they're going to have a field day with this thing. Buying both Godzilla and Kong, you're going to be like in for a real treat. If you really want to give them a real good treat, then get them all of them. Shimo, Scar King, and Mothra, because Mothra just came out. But leaving it to just this guy, on his own, he's really well done. The detail is amazing, especially for a $25 Playmates toy. The paint job, while it's not, again, the most extravagant, it's actually got some really good applications, even though mine is a bit scuffed on the brows. It actually has, again, some better applications and some paint work that's not even found on the 6-inch figure, like, for example, the straps back there. And furthermore, I would honestly go ahead and say that with the articulation, this is probably, again, maybe the best of the whole line. I can't really say it is the best because I don't have the rest, but for what this is, it's certainly definitely one of the best Playmates figures by far. Because not only is the articulation just better overall than the other ones, I just honestly say that it's quite possibly, again, one of the best, if not the best Kong figure that Playmates has ever produced. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked it, definitely subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and see you guys next time. Peace out, everyone.